Eta, bafethu. You know, in the past, not being able to whistle is something that never really bothered me until a few days ago when I received a call from an 046 telling me that they wanted to give me my first ever test vehicle. Petrol heads and Amachita in general will know that where you would normally find girls screaming because they are excited, for Amachita, they whistle. So whether it's a beautiful number passing by, and by number I mean kusheshe, nice car, and so for girls, they would normally go and scream, and then for guys, they would go chavi, chavi, chavi. So not being able to whistle has never really bothered me until that one call. So yeah, here I am in the Suzuki Swift, our first ever test vehicle after 8 years. 8 years, bruh, since we started the channel. So it's all thanks to our followers, the guys who have been following four-wheel chasers in general, because I won't lie, we only started YouTube 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, where we started taking it seriously. So thanks to you guys, and this is all for everyone that liked, shared, commented and everything, and more specifically to one guy, man, in particular. I won't say his name, but there's been one guy who, a mentor of mine, making sure that people know of me, they know about what I do. I've tried to be consistent in what I do, and I guess it's all paid off, because here we are in the 4th generation Suzuki Swift. Welcome to this week's video. So I'm going to assume that you did not only click on this video because you saw the Swift as a thumbnail, but because you went on and read the title of the video. Let me explain. This Swift made me sick not because it had too many flaws, trust me, it has a few, like any other car, but because this one particular morning, I woke up, washed the vehicle, and decided I was gonna head out and do a photo shoot. But because it started raining, I couldn't do any of that. For that matter, it rained almost the entire day. Later on that evening, I forcefully took my gear, headed out while it was still drizzling, and went to shoot the car anyway. And so if you go and play out in the rain, we all know what the outcome of that is going to be. I knew very well what I was getting myself into, and so I spent the last 2 or 3 days of testing on medication, constantly blowing my nose, and an unrecognizable voice which sounded like I was deep underwater when I spoke. Did I have any regrets? No. And this is why. This is the 1.2 GLX variant paired to a 5-speed manual transmission. The Swift competes in the B segment. It takes on the likes of the Polo Vivo, the Kia Picanto, and the Hyundai Grand i10, to name only a few. Right here we have it in its 4th generation, and it is being built in India. Pricing into the range starts at 219,900 rands for the 1.2 GL, all the way up to 284,000 rands for the 1.2 GLX Auto. For anyone looking for a sportier variant of the Swift, Unfortunately, Suzuki does not offer the Swift Sport in this 4th generation model. They do, however, still offer those units in the previous gen model. And since the vehicle was launched in 2004, Suzuki have sold over 9 million units worldwide. To further highlight just how good this vehicle is, locally, it's recently been crowned the budget hatch of the year by Cars.coza. And having lived with the car for a couple of days, it makes sense why this vehicle is doing so well. From an exterior standpoint, we have a set of revised headlights, L-shaped daytime running lights. Now these I particularly loved. I feel like they liven up the look. I mean, the car is already a beautiful thing to look at, but with the daytime running lights, these dialed things up a bit. There's a set of LED fog lamps lower down, a piano black grille, and down the side, there's a set of 15-inch diamond cut alloy wheels. The pillars are blacked out, giving the impression of a floating roof. And if we look towards the rear of the vehicle, gone are the concealed door handles, and instead you have traditional door handles. And speaking of door handles, we have keyless access here. And lastly, there are automatic folding side mirrors, 3D tail lights, and 265 liters of loading space at the back, or 580 liters if we fold the rear bench flat. Many will say luggage carrying capacity at the back is below average, and I would agree. But because I live alone, I hardly found myself needing more space. For that matter, all I ever carried back there is my camera bag, my tripod, and some small bags that I take to work with me. Now let's jump inside and see what the Swift has to offer inside the cabin. Now the first thing I noticed when I jumped into this cabin is the 9-inch infotainment system, which supports both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I have both devices, but I pretty much used Apple CarPlay because I felt it was easier to connect that than it is connecting the Android. I found the seats to be very comfortable and body hugging. For that matter, for the entire test period I had the vehicle, I didn't suffer from any back pain or lower back pain as I normally do with my Polo Vivo. And then there's a leather-wrapped multifunction steering wheel with piano black elements. It's got controls for your music, your volume, and cruise control. And then there are buttons lower down to either receive and a call or to make a voice command. I'm not going to talk about how cheap the plastics feel in here. It's a budget car after all. A good one, might I add. But what we can talk about is the fact that you've got all-round electric windows in here, cup holders, bottle holders on each of the doors at the front and at the rear, and manual adjustment for the seats. The climate control with its physical buttons. However, space at the rear is not so great, as I shall now demonstrate. And so now let's talk about the standard features in this 1.2 GLX manual. You've got keyless entry, a reversing camera with parking sensors and park distance control at the rear. There's a push start button, cruise control. Now unfortunately I could not demonstrate this as I was only able to use it on the last day when I took the car back to PE. And unfortunately when I tried doing a video to try and capture the moment, my phone storage was full. So yeah, you'll just have to take my word when I tell you that it's there and it works. And it's something I wish I'd been able to use when I took the car for the road trip the other day. And then we've got automatic climate control, 6 airbags, seat belt reminders, all-round electric windows as mentioned, electronically adjustable and foldable side mirrors. And then you get 2 tweeters to add to the 4-speaker audio system. So the engine in here is a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It's paired to a 5-speed manual and it drives the front wheels. It makes 60 kilowatts and 112 Newton meters of torque. And so when it comes to how the car drives, firstly, let's address the elephant in the room. This is quite a small vehicle. I mean, it weighs around 945 kilograms. And some of the public's concerns is how the car handles when it's windy. I took the car from PE, and on the day it was raining, it was windy. I took it to Summerstrand next to the sea where it was windy, yeah. And it handled everything quite well, man. Yes, it was not the most stable thing in the world, but it still managed to get me safely from point A to point B. That very same evening, I took it from Gqeberha to Port Alfred. The lights were really great at night, and even then, out on the highway with the blowing winds, I didn't find myself having any concerns with just how unstable the vehicle was. I was pretty much comfortable. So during the time we had the vehicle, we took it out for a road trip, which went from Pekweni, Pedi, Makanda, and back to Port Alfred, a total of around 230 kilometers. During the trip, we took on some poorly surfaced roads, but the car managed to deal with everything quite well. When we received the vehicle on a Tuesday, it showed us 447 kilometers of range, and we only took the trip on a Sunday with only a quarter of a tank left. We fueled up with 200 rands and we had 3 quarters. And so we covered the entire 230 kilometers with some fuel still to spare. And so having received the vehicle on a full tank, the entire 7 days I only needed to fill up with 200 rands, which was enough to cover the 230 kilometers for the road trip, plus 150 kilometers when I brought the car back to PE on Tuesday. Throughout the test period, I found the controls to be smooth. That goes for the steering wheel, the gear stick, and the pedals. All these combined made the Swift quite easy and a pleasure to drive. Add to that the comfortable and body-hugging seats. I found these to be much more comfortable than the seats in the Polo Vivo. And seeing that this is pretty much the top of the range GLX, I can confirm that Suzuki was not lying when they said this is the best equipped vehicle in its class. And now moving on to some of the things I did not necessarily enjoy. First off is the droning noise at idle. We have also found that when moving off in first gear, the vehicle can be jerky, and when you start moving up the gears, the vehicle levels out and you start enjoying the ride. And lastly, our test unit came with these wind deflectors or sun visors. I'm not sure what they're called, but these seem to be loosely fitted, and somehow, especially out on the highway, they tend to make some noise, which I did not particularly enjoy, especially somewhere here around the B pillar. Overall, this is a really good product. It's easy to drive and well kitted considering the price. It's comfortable, and I really loved this sizzling red paint color. It turned a lot of heads. And throughout our test period with the Swift, I did not see any other 4th generation Swift which came in this sizzling red color. Now let's say you've made your decision, you want to purchase a Suzuki Swift 1.2 GLX manual. Here's how much you can expect to pay on a monthly basis. Each unit of the Swift comes with a 2-year, 30,000 kilometer service plan and a 5 years, 200,000 kilometer warranty. Before we close off this video, did you know that this Suzuki Swift is our first ever test unit since we started 4-wheel chasers roughly 8 years ago, 27th of October 2017 to be exact. And so I would like to send a special shout out to Suzuki and all the representatives whom I'm not going to mention for considering us and sending us this vehicle. It goes without saying that I have absolutely enjoyed spending each and every minute with this vehicle. That said, I am grateful and thank you for this iconic moment. Feel free to ask me any questions, and if you feel there's something I didn't cover fully, hit me up in the comments. And that is all I have time for. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.